It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is your feel-good breakfast show. It's Monday, which means we're talking all things love and relationships, my favorite topic. Now, meeting the family of your partner is an important milestone in any intimate relationship for all involved. What's the best way to make a good first impression? Well, should you bring a gift? What if you don't find anything common with them? That's all the questions we have. Well, today we're unpacking these questions and more with clinical psychologist Slindile Mbata, who will provide us with some helpful advice to put our best foot forward. Slee, always so good to have you with us. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great, thanks.
Such an interesting conversation, because I tell this to my friends all the time. There's two things in this world that I absolutely love doing, is going for a job interview and actually meeting someone's parents. I know it's a big deal. It comes with a lot of anxiety, but I love it. It's that anxiety of it could go either way. She could either love me or she could either hate me, and touch wood, no parent has hate me yet. But is it a big deal to actually meeting the person you love's parents?
You know, I think it really can be a big deal. It depends. It depends on the context. For some people, you know, their parents would meet all their partners, so it's not so much of a big deal. It's just something that the family does. But depending on the cultural context, it can actually be a very big next step in your relationship as well. So you want to get an idea from your partner, what are the implications actually of meeting the parents?
So last week we were speaking about, you know, first dates and just how anxious you are when you're meeting someone for the first time. But when it comes to meeting the parents, how should we amp ourselves up? Because, I mean, that also comes with a lot of anxiety. Not everyone's going to enjoy meeting the person for the first time or meeting their parents. There's a lot of pressure. So how do we amp ourselves up to take that step and being like, Mama, this is my person, this is my mama, this is my dad. How do we get ourselves amped up?
Right. Well, I do think, like you said, it can be very anxiety-provoking, but I think trying to focus on the positives, you know, the fact that, okay, this is a big day, like you said, it's sort of like for you, it's something that you love, and try and focus on the positives of what it actually means that, you know, your parents get to meet your partner. So the fact that your partner's going to be there, your family gets to see you together and see what the relationship means to you. And I think also taking it as a learning opportunity that you get to meet people, make new relationships, create new relationships, hopefully, and you're getting to learn something about your partner by seeing how they interact as well with their family. So you get a little bit of a window into actually what makes them tick.
That's such an interesting way to look at it. But what role does he then play, or what role does your partner have in making sure that, you know, you are comfortable, you're set? Should he be telling you all the life stories beforehand? Because sure, we know that album's going to come out now. Those baby pictures are going to come out. They're going to be telling you the whole life story.
Yeah. I think the partner has a very big role to play here. You know, sometimes some partners will say, you know what, you are going to see how these people are for yourself. So go in there, just be yourself, and you'll see what happens. But I do think they can have a very big role to play in terms of integrating you, especially if there are cultural differences that might be there. So talking through those things with your partner is very, very important. And so I think they can be there just to help prepare you for what you might need to know. And of course, to give you support throughout and just reassurance. You know, sometimes you do need them to just let you know that, okay, I've got your back. Even things are going fine. So don't worry about that. So that reassurance and that preparation beforehand is absolutely crucial.
And maybe even a safe word. I think using a safe word is always good. Like if I say pineapple, you know, get me out of here. This is going to a deep place here. You won't ask me questions like, are we on the same page now? The other question I have for you is, you know, and it's difficult for me to do this because people already know me. For instance, if I met my person's parents, they automatically may have seen me on TV already, so I can't be a quiet person. But do you have to be your authentic self when you meet them for the first time? Or do you just have to, you know, stay in your lane, try to not be out there? Because I tried that before. I came, I met the person's parents, and I was just sitting there, and she's like, but I see you on TV, you loud, and I was like, okay, awkward. So do we have to be comfortable? Do we have to be ourselves? Or do we just be quiet and, you know, just suss out the room?
I think, you know, the best thing to do is probably to be your authentic self. You don't want to give off the wrong impression, or rather, let me say, you don't want to misrepresent yourself, because they will get to know you over time and they'll know that, you know, she's really not the way that she portrays herself to be. But I think as well, the most important thing, while you're being authentic, is to try and be appropriate as well to the particular context. So there might be some things that you do need to realistically tone down. If there are cultural considerations, you might need to think about how it is that you dress, depending on the context of the family, possibly their religious beliefs. So yes, you can be yourself, but just get to know, from your partner what it is that you might need to adjust on the day.
Be mindful of that. Interesting conversation. I'm so glad that we have 2 more of these, but weigh in with us, Expresso Morning Show on S3. Meeting the parents for the first time. Do's and don'ts. We're going to connect with you in just a moment.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh yes, it's your feel-good breakfast show. It's Monday and we're talking all things relationships and all things love. Today's topic is all about meeting your partner's family and how you can ensure that it is a pleasant experience for all involved. Now, visit Expresso's Facebook page and share with us how you met your significant other's family. We'd love to hear from you. But we are back with clinical psychologist Sindile Mbata to delve deeper into this important milestone in any serious relationship, because it's serious. Meeting someone's mom, someone's dad for the first time is hectic, but there's also a lot of anxiety when it comes to it. And there's this notion that it's more anxious for the female meeting the partner's mom for the first time.
Yes.
Why is that so?
Yes, I think, Jamie, there's so many cultural stereotypes really when it comes to women and meeting the family of their partner, particularly in, typically in heterosexual relationships. And there's this idea that as a woman, you kind of have to prove what you're worth. So you're coming in there and everyone is looking at whether you're going to be, a good wife, or do you have any kind of homemaking skills? Can you cook? Can you clean? What do you have any maternal instincts? And really it's this idea or the stereotype that you're being evaluated on what you can do. Can you do what his mother could do for him, for example? So it's really, I think, mostly a stereotype that has really fed into, women being evaluated in that way.
Men have it so easy because they just show up,
Yeah.
they just sit there, they chill with the uncles, live their best
Yeah,
life, and they're like,
they
yeah, no, he's a good one, he's a keeper.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best china gets pulled out of the cupboards for them, and you're suddenly eating meals that you didn't eat before. To kind of like impress the potential son-in-law. So I would say for sure they seem to have it easy.
But that's also my thing. Why are we not asking the men, can you build a house though? Can you change a tire? Because that's the question we should be asking. But when it comes to meeting the parents for the first time, is there anything that we should steer away from, stay clear from? I think my top tip is don't maybe have a glass of alcohol if you know you're going to turn up, because now they think they're meeting the potential one and they're like, oh no, this girl is for the streets. She is not going to be my son or daughter's partner. So
Yeah.
what are things we should stay away from and red flags when it comes to meeting the parents for the first time?
Okay, so I think this again might be culturally influenced. It's going to really depend on the context. So you might find, that within certain families there's cultural taboos around, for instance, wearing jeans or wearing pants if you're a woman and you're coming in to meet the family. For guys, for instance, there's certain cultural things like wearing a hat in the house, wearing a cap. These are things that you might need to know. So how are you going to be received in terms of cultural norms or conventions? So you might need to look out for that as to, when thinking about what to avoid. I would say as a general rule, alcohol, stay away from it. So even if you know that you can turn up, and you do have that side too, I think in general, just maybe stay away from that for the first time that you're meeting the parents, maybe the first couple of times even, that you do meet them, because that, that may or may not have the effect that you're looking for.
For sure. And then should we bring a gift as well? Because I know some people think it might be pretentious bringing a bottle of wine, but I mean, you are meeting them for the first time, so you want to also come off as someone that is accommodating and you're excited to meet them. Should we bring a gift?
Yeah, so that also depends. I think it depends what kind of gift it is. You don't want to, for instance, bring a bottle of wine if you don't know what the family's policy is on alcohol. But it might be a good idea to bring a gift. You might want to find out what, mom's interested in, what dad likes, and then, perhaps bring a gift. Others might see it as you doing a little bit too much, but, I think it can be a very nice gesture if you bring a gift, or even if, the family's going to have a wonderful feast during Easter. Bring a little, casserole or something like that that they might enjoy, and you show that you can make a contribution as well.
Speaking about Easter, because that's obviously happening this weekend, some top tips as well for people that's going to be meeting families for the first time over such a holiday, you know, where it's family, it's love, it's about now having jokes and just being so homey. What top tips do you have for them?
Firstly, I mean, I would say good luck if you're meeting your family during Easter. But, you know, sometimes you might think that things that you would typically avoid at other times of year, you might think you want to avoid them at Easter. But for instance, at Easter, it might be a very religious time or significant time for the family. So if they are, you know, you might be expected to be part of a prayer, for example, or you might be expected to go along for a church service, for example. So just prepare yourself ahead of time. Maybe talk to your partner about what it is that you can expect. And I think if you're going in during Easter, you might be having a nice little lunch or dinner. Be prepared to help out. So go in there with, you know, a can-do attitude. You know, obviously you don't want to overdo things, but be prepared to help out, whether it's like, you know, peeling some potatoes or chopping something up. And I think really just show that you're there to as much as possible, be part of the family.
Learn how to make pickled fish, because it's happening this weekend. Sally's not going anywhere. We still have one more topic coming your way. But let us know again, Expresso Morning Show on S3. We'd love to hear from you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. Just in time for our last segment. It's Monday and we are continuing our love and relationships discussion today. And we're talking to clinical psychologist Lindile Mbata to gain some helpful tips on how we can best prepare ourselves to meet the parents. Now, you at home can join in by sharing your first encounters with your partner's family on our Facebook page. And someone actually did that. They came through on social media and they had this to say. They said, good morning, Benjamin. Ifyani says, good morning, Expresso family. Have a great day and blissful new week. Stephanie Steph Girls says to definitely being yourself. You always have to be yourself when you meet your parents, which is something you said, you know, you have to come there with your authentic self. Don't try to change when you meet the parents. But I'm going to do a bit of scenarios for you, okay? You go to meet the parents and now jokes are being made, you know, everyone's being chilled out, and then something awkward gets said, and now you can see it's a bit...
It's tense.
Uncomfortable. What do? Do you join in on the conversation? Do you take a step back? Or do you just, again, wait it out and see where this conversation is actually going?
Yeah, can I say run away?
Run, girl, run.
Yeah, I think, you know, if it doesn't involve you, I would generally say stay out of it. You know, things can get very awkward in terms of family, the dynamics. We know how families are like. So I think as far as possible, if you can just sort of avoid getting involved in the situation, you know, do that. So you might want to just quietly observe. If you feel, you know, confident enough to comment on something, go ahead. But I would rather advise that you just avoid getting involved altogether.
For sure. Run. Run, everybody, run. Now, there's also a scenario here, okay? Our partner's parent and family members says or does something that personally rubs us the wrong way. Example, they don't respect our personal space, or they compare us to our partner's ex, okay? Or there's, you know, massive cultural differences. How do we then deal with this appropriately so it doesn't bother us in the future?
So I think if you feel, you know, confident enough and assertive enough to deal with it in the present, in that specific moment, then do so. You know, if you felt like, you know, I understand that that's your perspective. For instance, if you get compared to your ex, I understand that that's your perspective, but, you know, I really hope that you can also get to know me a little bit better. With a smile. I think humor is always a great diffuser of tension. So if you do have a scenario like that where you do, you know, you think, oh my goodness, okay, wow, even if a person gets too much in your personal space and they don't know where your boundaries lie yet, you know, you might think, oh goodness, sure, I'm not used to, you know, people being so close to me. So you kind of diffuse it with a bit of humor. I think when it comes to cultural things, it's really about showing your willingness to learn, and that, you know, you might want to say, wow, you know, I didn't realize that culturally there were those considerations. I'm willing to learn more. If you could teach me, that would be great. So I think really trying to, as much as possible, diffuse the situation if you can, but also show that you're willing to engage if it is that you need to engage. You might want to, if you're not able to address it directly, ask for help from your partner, maybe afterwards, just to say, you know, this really uncomfortable moment came up when I was speaking to this specific person, and I'm not sure how to go about dealing with it. You know, perhaps can you help me in terms of addressing it directly? You don't want to leave it unaddressed.
I love that. So you gave us a lot of good tips today, but I think ultimately it came down to speak to your partner first, have that conversation, be mindful about what you're getting yourself into before meeting the parents. I think everyone out there is now ready to meet the parents over Easter, but it's been so good to connect with you. People can reach out to her by emailing her on slee.psychologist@gmail.com. If you are meeting the parents, good luck.
Good luck.